I talk about feminism, what does it bring to your mind? And why and for whom? Whose feminism for whom? Who needs this feminism? That's going to be my issue for you today. And I really want to take you through a journey of thoughts and ideas, and where I want to see how much we together will look at this question with all seriousness and see, do we really need feminism? So is it for women we need feminism at all? Is it for women we need it? Women. Let me define how we look at a woman. If I ask you to define a woman, you will think, oh, this here is someone, we have invited her to talk about feminism. This tika bindi wali, they call us bindi brigade. They also tell us that, the kind of clothes we wear, the way we still look, very perhaps in some sense of the modernization traditional. So what is it that really this woman is all about? When she is covered till here, can you see that picture well? Can you see all those gradations? Okay. So when she is covered till here, she is a decent woman. Fine. When she is little bit, so she is hip, she is very modern. No, isn't that right? Little bit more low, when something more is showing. What is she? She's a slut. All that happens to her because this is what she is, this is who she is. And who is defining all this? Who's really decided when she's covered till here or covered full, not showing any part of it except for maybe nails, when she's only covered till, maybe perhaps like I am covered, maybe she's covered like one of my youngster who's really wanting to wear a very short skirt, or somebody. So who decides that she is a decent woman or she is not decent woman? Okay, so do we need feminism for her to be able to say that I am a woman and I am a person, I am a citizen and I am a human? Does that really need for her? Now, so is it for men then, feminism? Men who's not supposed to cry, who's not supposed to express his emotion, who's supposed to succeed, who's supposed to, in all eventuality, win, who's supposed to be performer, who's supposed to be doing everything that is desired of him, carry the legacy of the family, he can walk nude, nobody will say something to him, he has all the space to himself in the bus, in the car, in the train, in the pedestrian, who's supposed to have all the space inside the house, who's supposed to win all the time, but the burden of masculinity is put on his head from the day he is born. Does he need feminism? Does he need to shed these layers and layers and layers, and he just cocoons himself within? Nobody, even in the feminist movement, even global discourse, nobody is wanting to know what is going into his head, his mind, his body. Who is he? Does he need feminism? If he needs feminism, then I think we both need feminism. To shell the masculinity and to get into. So very simple question, if I ask you a question, so what is it that we should look forward to when we are talking about gender equality? Man, woman, third gender. We want equality in our society. Equality is a universal value. It's not something that we are bringing in from somewhere and saying, let's be all looking for equality for people who are excluded in any kind of democratic system. Equality is a value we want to bring into our society because we want to move towards a society which is beautiful. So I'm not here to really come back and tell you that, look how horrible people are, look how women have been facing violence, look what kind of a society we have gone into. We are going down the hill all the time when 3-year-old is raped, when 3,75,000 are being beaten up at home, when, so many women are losing their jobs, they're not getting equal pay for equal work, all that. it's not that. I'm looking at the possibility and I'm exploring after 35 years of hard work with the community, village to village, from Ganga Kinare to Baramati Kinare where I was, from every nook and corner of this country, globally, every part of the world. I'm looking for something which is what will be this society of future, which is really based on gender equality. So no gender there, it's all equal human beings. It's all people who are just together. So look at this one. Can you read this globe? What is written there? Can anybody read it? Something is hidden there. What is essential for a gender just world? So that's what I'm here for, to tell you what is essential for gender just world. Gender just world, if I ask you this question, you will say, okay, we want to be human, we want to be equal, we want to be caring, we want to be loving for each other, we don't want to be violent, we don't want to be, because violence creates culture of violence. If we are living in violent family, if we have people around us who have inflicted violence on us, then we all will be only knowing one emotion, that is violence. If we have seen love, care, interdependence, really giving space to each other, we see respecting each other's dignity, we see respecting each other's humanness, then I think we will learn that we are moving towards a society which will be really a society of feminist vision or feminism, which is the man's feminism and women's feminism. For both, it will move towards a kind of society which is. So what is essential for gender just world? I think what is essential for me, it's really very, very important, other than the human values, because we are real human beings and we are living in systems, it's equal economic opportunities for everyone, equal access. Every third girl child is not in school in India. We are getting so many children who are female fetuses not allowed to be born. We are living in a society where 3 year to 70 year is not able to protect her own body, and having body over your own, having right over your own body, sex and sexuality is the fundamental of any kind of feminism, any kind of understanding of equality, gender equality. So I think that's very important, and that can only happen when everybody will have the economic equal access to education, skills, and then you have assets, and then you can get real equality in terms of economic equality. And that is something which is really evading us decade by decade, and even in the decade when we have completed 70 years of our independence, we have not reached there. Now let's look at the other one, educational attainment. I told you that it's not access to education is something which is really again not there in our country. It's not equal access. Some of us are fortunate. Some of us are fortunate that we really managed to get that, we managed to reach the level of educational attainment, and we are able to do that. But look at our villages. India is not just urban areas. India is not big cities and big institutions. After education, when you will go back, drive past those villages on these beautiful highways that we have now, you see both sides of the road. Walk into any of those villages and you will know that children still don't have equal and decent access to education. Boys and girls both, and more for the girls. So that's something which is extremely important to look at, and feminism is wanting there also to get that access to boys and girls, to equal education, and also more to the girls, because definitely there is big deficit that we are suffering. And also of course when we look at the whole issue of parity, workforce situation, you know that in India, I just want to brief you a little bit about that, women are really going down in our workforce. Last decade has seen less women joining the Indian workforce, and we do not have wage parity in the workforce. It's not only a struggle for the Western women to talk about equal work for equal wages, but it's also our question in a big way, in a major way, that women are given less important skills, they get less important jobs, and they get less paid. And also of course so many kinds of discrimination, so many kinds of problems that they are getting. So if we do away with all that and we get equal labor force, then I think we are moving towards that society that I'm talking about. And same is about equal participation. Now that's something which, this is the life commitment for me and for all of us. I think we should think about that. Why it is that India's constitution guarantees equality. It guarantees every citizen to be treated equally. Representation is not there. Why? Why it is that Parliament still has 88% seats occupied by just male members? We are only 12% in India's Parliament. It's no wonder that when you look at the budget presented by the Finance Minister, you don't see much that is happening for women there. There's not much announcement about safety and security. We can shout at top of our voices, but it is evading us. It is not there. So it's because of that kind of a situation that we see that women are not represented. After a lot of struggle of the Indian women's movement, as you all know, that 33% reservation came at the local bodies. It is 50% now, and I'm just coming from Baramati, where I addressed 12,000 women representatives from different parts of the country. Starting from Panchayat to Parliament. It was organized by Andhra government, and it was a huge sea and masses of women, and I was just so impressed that women's aspiration to get into public spaces, women's aspiration to be part of the nation building, women's aspiration to be contributing to the decision making process is seen very clearly. And it's there. So society of future, when we are 50-50, I look at this side, 50% women are sitting. When I look at this side, 50% men are sitting. So I think it's really, out of 100%, it's equality, whether you look at the Parliament, whether you look at your state legislator, you look at your university board, when you look at your, the local body, wherever it is. It has to be a society of future where you have to. Now, next one I would look at is gender gap calculator. This is very interesting. This is very interesting, and one of you should do this. All of you should do it, but I thought that in studio we'll be able to do that. This has been produced by the World Economic Forum, gender gap calculator. Press it, and you will see, put your name, your gender, your age. And then what will happen? You press it. How many years? Gender gap calculator, how many years it will take when we will become equals like that? Please go and press this button. All of you should put your age, your gender and everything, and you will see, and then just press that button and you will see that it is going to be how long, how many generations of men and women have to go through before we really be able to achieve that. So, I think it was somebody who pressed it now, 193 years it will take for us to really bridge this gender gap. Are we as Indians willing to wait that long? I don't think any of us will be there to see it, but are we willing to wait that long? Are we going to look at gender equality, reaching our shores of this country, our earth, our population, our people, so long? My goodness, look at this, how many, and because we are 87th, when you look at the whole issue of, the gender gap, 87th we are in the whole of the world at the moment. And then, of course, the next one, look at this way, how far we are. I think all of you should. I will leave it here, and I will let you have this experience for yourself to get that shock that I got when I did this, when I used it, that really how much, you all are getting educated, you are getting all kinds of knowledge, information, technology, everything. In spite of all this, we are not going to get there unless we all really start working together quickly on this issue. I think this is something which is extremely important for us to realize, that feminism is an idea to create gender equality. When we started gender equality, it was women's rights that we started fighting for. Then we realized it's not about just women's rights, it's about men, women and third gender. So we talked about gender equality. And now it was men and boys engage to achieve that society. And I love this picture where you can see this, this whole thing about, how these two people, is breaking all kinds of our notions about two people sitting in a beautiful environment with lots of green trees, So there is environment there. You can't even guess the age of the lady who's sitting with this gentleman. You can't, this is very, very, inclusive kind of a situation where, so inclusivity, equality, and also respect for the dignity of every citizen, every human being. That's what feminism is all about, as for men and women equally. Thank you.